Should one of the discussions be, under no circumstances do we lose a Jamar Chase, that's a brother that needs to stay in Cincinnati as long as you're there?
Yes, of course. That's everybody sees what he does on the field week in and week out for us. He's a guy that continues to make big-time plays every single time he touches the field. So when you have a guy like that, you can't let him leave the building.
What about T. Higgins, Joe?
Yeah, that's a guy that we got to keep too. When he's on the field, he's a game changer for us, not only for our team but for Jamar. You know, teams can't just focus in on him and double him and cloud him. They have to worry about T. Higgins on the other side of the field. And you know, we have the space that we need to keep both of those guys. We need Trey back. We need to give him what he's worth and what he deserves. He's earned that. And
I am so sick and tired of everyone talking about boo-hoo. Joe Burrow has to do so much. He's got so much on his plate. There's so much pressure on him. The defense is not going to be great. Your defense sucked last year. It's going to be bad this year. That's the guy that said that. I want my 2 receivers paid. We need to get Jamar Chase. We need to get T. Higgins paid, what they earned. We need to get Trey Henderson paid, what he's earned. He led the NFL in sacks last year. I think he deserves a payday. But here's the problem. You already paid Joe Burrow. You've now paid Chase and Higgins. You have no money to spend on the defense. Yeah, you fired the defensive coordinator. You drafted Shamar Stewart, who almost decided to go back to college and just reclassify for next year's draft. You got him there, but by all accounts, your defense is basically the same. If not, it got worse. So I'm so tired of hearing about the woes of Joe Burrow. Like, you know, he's got to go through so much. He's got so much. You got 2 elite wide receivers who could easily be wide receiver 1 anywhere else. T. Higgins is not a wide receiver 2. He's a wide receiver 1. And Jamar Chase, Jamar Chase is probably the best receiver in the league. You can argue Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, who both went to LSU playing with Joe Burrow. That team is still insane. But I'm not crying for the Bengals. I'm not crying for Joe Burrow. Yeah, he got to score. The Cincinnati offense has to score. Yeah, I get all that, but you made it this way. You Joe Burrow and the GM of the Bengals, you made the team like this because Joe Burrow wanted his receivers paid. And look, I get it. Joe Burrow is really good. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league as well. Probably the best quarterback Cincinnati's ever had. You probably do want to listen to him. But you got to also understand that comes with a price. You did no investment in your defense. That was horrible last year. The only bright spot you had was Trey Henderson. I'm not sure Cincinnati can pay him what he wants because they already spent all their money on Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. There might not be enough guaranteed money left. That could be why. But you made the team this way. You wanted to be a team that can score a lot of points and light up the scoreboard, be elite that way. Cincinnati's not a complete team. The defense, I watched them in preseason against the Commanders. The Commanders ran 3 plays, basically running plays. Jaden Daniels didn't throw a pass. They didn't have to. First couple plays was a jet sweep to Deebo Samuel. Rodriguez ran it up the field like no one touched him, and then Daniels ran it into the end zone basically untouched. It was god awful. That's just a preview of how bad this defense is going to be. We all knew it, so I don't know why we're surprised. But I'm so sick of all this boo-hoo, coddling. Again, I mentioned it time and time again, the coddling of Joe Burrow. Like, oh, we feel so bad for him. Josh Allen, we feel so bad for you. Like, he needs more help. Like, Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to throw the ball to. Lamar Jackson ain't never had that. No. But the expectations are so much higher for Lamar versus Burrow. But Burrow went to a Super Bowl. He did it one time. And he lost. We hold 2021 so much with Joe Burrow. It's crazy. Yes, Joe Burrow is elite. He is amazing. An amazing quarterback. I'm not questioning anything about that. I'd be an idiot if I did that. But damn, the team was made this way on purpose. Do you think these guys didn't know that their defense is going to suck this year, knowing that they put all this money into 3 players on the offensive side of the ball? The offensive line is wishy-washy, so we'll see how that goes. Chase Brown back there, running back, he's pretty good, so that's another weapon. Mike Gesicki at tight end. This is going to be a top 5 offense, in my opinion. So we're crying and boo-hooing and saying how bad we feel for Joe Burrow because he doesn't have a good defense. If you wanted to make a more complete team, you would not be able to keep both those receivers. One of those guys would have had to go. If you let T. Higgins go, you got a lot more money to spend on the defense. Maybe pay Trey Henderson a lot earlier. Maybe invest more in the defensive side of the ball. But no, you chose this route. Now you have to live with it. Again, this offense is elite. I'm expecting it to be a top 5 offense. It's gonna cause a lot of problems for a lot of teams. But eventually, you have to get stops. You got to get stops. And if this defense looks anything like what I saw in preseason and from last season, they're not gonna be able to get stops. So we're gonna be talking about Joe Burrow in the offense like, oh, what more can he do? They're scoring over 30 points a game, 33, and they're still losing. I don't feel bad for you because you did this to yourself, Cincinnati. And now you're basically repeating your mistake. Because I don't see this defense being any better. Dare I say it might get worse. What evidence do I have to believe in Cincinnati's defense? And check it out. If Joe Burrow doesn't make the playoffs again, are we just going to absolve him again? Are we going to keep on just saying like, oh, it's the defense, it's not Joe Burrow? I can recall a couple of games that the Bengals could have easily won, but Joe Burrow made a mistake. I remember when the Ravens last year came to Cincinnati, Bengals were in complete control. Joe Burrow throws an interception late. Jamar Chase ran a slant. Joe Burrow threw it. Marlon Humphrey jumped it, intercepted. Cincinnati again, after a Baltimore turnover, again, gave them the game basically. Jamar Chase is matched up with Nate Wiggins, who was at the time was a rookie cornerback. This is Jamar Chase right now, 1-on-1. You ran 3 straight running plays that went nowhere. That's Jamar Chase on a rookie. That's easy. That's easy money. Why didn't you call a play to throw it to him? No, but we don't talk about these things when it comes to Burrow because we look at the final stat line. We look at the numbers. We don't look at details in the game when it comes to losses. We just immediately blame the defense. And yes, the defense does deserve the majority of the blame. You can't keep giving up 30 points a game and expect to be very good. But there's times where Burrow and the offense could have bailed out this defense and won. But Burrow made some mistakes. We don't highlight those because we just don't do that when it comes to Joe Burrow. We do that with other guys. So I don't feel bad for them. The offense is going to be fun to watch. I think the Cincinnati Bengals actually should make the playoffs this year based on what their schedule looks like. I think they will make the playoffs. If they don't, I think that's an indictment on Joe Burrow. Because you went through all that in the offseason saying, telling, basically airing it out on national TV that you wanted those guys paid, knowing, and Joe Burrow is very smart. He knows this. You knew that this was going to compromise your defense. You knew that. You knew there wasn't going to be enough money to invest in the defense. And you knew at some point there was going to be a contract dispute with one of those guys. It just happened to be Trey Henderson, who was your best player on defense last year.